Welcome to
Marriage Pinnacle's Chats from the Peak,
where God's favorites link up.
My name is Dr. Lara.
I'm Memi.
And this is Marriage Pinnacle's Chats from the Peak. So we're trying something a little different. We're going to keep it short and sweet. Chats from the Peak is just a marital support platform, or no,
it's okay.
The podcast.
It's the podcast.
It's the podcast.
We're talking about the podcast specifically. Okay.
So we're going to start over.
So we're going to from top?
From the top.
Okay. Welcome to
Marriage Pinnacle's Chats from the Peak,
where God's favorites link up.
My name is Dr. Lara.
And I'm Memi.
And this is Chats from the Peak. So Chats from the Peak, sweet and short. It is a platform where we discuss the highs of marriage and we navigate the lows. And we just do it from a clinical lens, a cultural lens, and a bit of life experience.
Which is my favorite part.
Yeah.
Marriage isn't dead, it's just a climb.
It's just a climb. Y'all don't even know we did that like 20 times, but here we are. So thank you for joining us on another episode. And we're going to get right into it. So if you don't know a little bit about us, if this is your first time, we want to thank you for stopping by. You might have seen it from another video. We want you to pause and like, subscribe, comment, let us know what you want to hear, see, and we'll make sure that we're getting to you. We're wrapping up the season. We got a couple more episodes left in the season, but we are coming back better and we got so much stuff. We got so much stuff in the
So excited.
So we're really excited. But we want to make sure we wrap the season up with a bang. And so we got a couple more episodes that we feel like speaks to the girlies.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
so
some of the men's.
Obviously the men is too. Because
some.
The husband.
The husbands gotta listen too.
We have husbands that listen.
Yeah.
We appreciate you guys.
And it takes both. Like a lot of stuff we talk about, you can't just have the wife listening and then the husband like, oh, let's do it. Like
it requires both.
Yeah, like we like if y'all watch together.
Yeah.
So
yeah, definitely watch together actually. So if you do watch together, shout yourselves out in the comment section.
Tag your boo.
Yeah, tag your boo. So thank you again. So for our online, if you're watching video, hi guys, the setup's a little different. We feel like we finally got it, and this is it.
Do y'all like this one?
Yeah.
What's your favorite? What is your favorite setup?
This is ours. So
this is our favorite.
This is what it's gonna be. This is what's gonna be.
I love this one.
If you're an audio listener, we thank you. If you're listening on your drive, at the gym, we appreciate you guys. And so a little bit about how our setup is. We do internet chokeholds. Mm-hmm. It's just where we keep our ears to the streets. We get in with some relationship gems, and then a lot of times, sometimes we might have a listener letter, and then we kind of wrap up the episode. Yep. And so we're going to give it to you with an internet chokehold. What we got today?
Yes, so today, during our research, we typically pick our topic. So today our topic is about the pursuit of happiness, right? Like we're talking about what is being happy, what is joy, what is contentment, how do you find all those, how do you navigate through those, and just not even just marriage, but throughout your life. And I came across this concept that went viral, and this lady's Instagram page is New Happy Co. So that's NEWHAPPYCO, New Happy Co. And her page is super cute, really cool. She has all these like graphics about like how comparing what our thoughts of happiness is versus what happiness actually is, and what joy really is. Like, and she came up with this concept. She has this book, and it's called Old Happy versus New Happy. Mm-hmm. So her whole thing was that she graduated college. She had a nice apartment in, I believe, New York or some big city, working a great job, making good money. Yeah. She had good friends, and she still felt miserable. She still did not feel happy. She said that she would just be on the floor crying. Wow. And it wasn't until she started going to therapy and doing the work where she... Don't play with us.
You hear that?
Not too much.
You hear that?
Not too much on
Go
therapy.
Get a therapist.
Go get it. And it wasn't until she had to like sort of redefine happiness for herself, and before she realized that joy is not, happiness and joy is not a thing. It's not an end state. Yeah. You know, and so like on her page you'll see stuff on like what one of them she talked about how do you feel like once you got through that hard thing, how do you feel now with all that worry and all that anxiety you had about this thing when everything worked out in the end? Oh, you know, and it's kind of like a concept that I've heard of a lot. It's kind of like, you know, with the way your mind works and you get freaked out like, oh my God, is this going to go right? Oh my God, this is going to go so bad. It's like you spend all this energy worried about the end state, and then you get to the end state and it's like, oh wow, it wasn't that bad, everything went fine. It always works out. It always works out for the most part. Not always. But most of the time it does work out. But it's like you spend so much energy versus you could have just been kind of like enjoying the process, enjoying the journey, enjoying the ride. And so I think it's the perfect like analogy for marriage, right? A lot of us get a lot of like we had an episode with Rennie just a couple of weeks ago where we were talking about single girls, like talking to our single girls dating at 30, and it's like a lot of women, like especially if you grew up in like African households, like getting married is expectation. It's not like an option or a choice. It's like you go to college, you graduate, you go get your master's or a higher degree. and then you get married, then you have kids. It's sort of like they spell it out for you. They spell it out for you. So you kind of never have the choice. Like people don't even like. I'm a firm believer in not everybody is meant to be married. But it's biblical, hot take, I guess. No, but it's the truth though. I genuinely don't think everyone is meant to be partnered. Some people are just not. There's a certain amount of like humility, self-awareness, selflessness.
Oh, so you're saying it even from the perspective of like some people just don't fit the bill? Is that, okay.
You just don't got what it takes. You know how some people are like, like childless by choice. Some people know they're just not cut out to be parents. I feel like it's the same way with marriage.
There's some people, and I think that does go back to. I think it goes back to this idea of like. You are not self-aware. You've not done the work. You're a little selfish.
And that's okay. And that's okay. But it's like you can create your own universe by yourself and like with your friends, with your nieces and nephews, with your family, where you're able to have full autonomy over how you operate and run your life.
I mean, we're not called to be alone, but I
agree with that.
But I agree 100% that there are people
feel like
that just, again, they just, what it's needed to kind of make the switch between like it's not just me anymore, it's somebody else. And it's not all about what I want, it's about somebody else. And it's if you don't do the work or you're not open to doing the work, marriage will be very difficult.
It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be a long ride. It's gonna be a big mountain. It's gonna be
a climb. It's gonna be forever.
It's gonna be tough. So I feel like when we're talking back to our topic about old happy versus new happy, it's like some people, because of how our parents kind of lay out that progress, you assume like, okay, I've checked every other box. The only box that's missing is marriage. Glass half empty. How about that? So for me, like I don't know if it's a real thing. But it's kind of like how I made it up. Joy hacking is that if something is making me feel nervous or anxious or kind of like, I won't say sad, but like concerned. I try to look at it from, okay, what are the positives in this? Like we talked about earlier this week, to be very vulnerable or transparent. Dio got on a modified education plan. And at first I was like, dang, are they trying to say my boy is like behind or he's like not doing well or not exceeding? You know, like my first reaction was immediately as a mother to go into like, oh my God, what are we doing wrong? Like panic, like do I need to get him a tutor? Do I need to do this? Do I need to do this? And me and you talked about it, and I was just like, okay, but I'm going to choose to look at it like, okay, he's getting extra help. He's getting more support. Like he's getting more time to finish an exam, so he doesn't have to rush through an exam. He's getting, he's able to ask questions on an exam if something is confusing to him. So it's like they're actually trying to help him. It's not a label. It's not a, because we've had experiences in the past where he's been in school and they've made him feel, and our little black boys, you gotta be extra protective. So immediately I went into like, oh my God, like we gotta fix this. But I switched it like, okay, so what's the positive in this? Like,
Memi, when I say I recall that our conversation earlier this week, and I just was like amazed because I was just like, that means like for me, therapy is what you make it. You know what I mean? I don't know why I'm getting emotional, but I feel like therapy is what you make it. I don't want to.
Cause I'm a cry.
Oh Lord. This is weird. I'm gonna suck it back in. Okay. That's wild because I don't understand why I'm tearing up. That is weird. Lord Jesus, I think it's the setup, the changing of the script. Oh Lord,
yeah, we getting emotional about therapy in here.
Anywho, I think that like therapy is what you make it, right?
Yeah,
and I feel like that was such a evident example of you doing the work because that is literally when you're able to reframe, joy hack, whatever you want to call it. That is how you were able to like make sense of the world, make sense of things. And I just thought that was like, without me even having to say it, I was just like, Memi, that's amazing that you did that, because it is so easy for us to, as parents, when you're like, no, but my kid is smart and this is and that, for you to be, no, what are the teachers not doing, as opposed to saying like,
going with the negative,
he is getting what he needs that's going to help him be successful. Period. You know what I mean? And I just was like, I just look at that, I was just like, that was such a good example, and I was so happy that you acknowledged it. So like, that was weird. Made me emotional, but
it's okay.
It's really like you did the work, girl.
Yeah,
so I really
felt like and because like I started off like this year, and I was like, this year all I want, like my main New Year's resolution was just to feel happy, to feel joy, to feel fulfillment, and not in any particular thing, not in like, oh, I want to get a new promotion, or it was just
that's
like
what I want to feel
by myself. Like if nothing else changes about anything in my life, I want to just feel content. I want to just feel happy, and reframing has been the thing that has gotten me there. Like to me, I'm not gonna lie, like the joy hacking, reframing, that has been the thing that has gotten me there, because when I'm able to look at every situation, the toughest things, and be like, well, but you know, like, okay, but like that sucks, but you know, and it's hard to do in every situation. I have a lot of friends that have been losing their parents. Like I've like two friends that have lost moms and dads in sudden tragic ways in the past year, in the past month, and it's like it's very hard to reframe those things, right?
Absolutely.
But it's like the things that I can reframe, I'll reframe those so that I have room to grieve from my friends.
Absolutely.
You have more room to deal with the things that are unable to reframe, versus me being anxious about my son's school, anxious about paying bills, anxious about everything. And then on top, when real trauma happens, you can't deal with it. It's like, so I can reframe the things that I can. I can joy hack the things that I can, so that those things are not taking up space in my like
in
sadness
bubble.
bucket.
In your bucket. In the bucket. It's the truth. You know?
My sadness bucket can only handle but this much.
Like I don't need
I'm
it to the
adding stuff to it. It's gonna be overflowing, and then like real stuff comes. It's like I'm a mess. So it's like I feel like that has definitely that would be something that I implore everyone to do. But on top of going to therapy, if you're able to implement that, like glass half full perspective.
And I think that like, even just because I think you were going into it before I cut you off, because I was so proud of you. But like, I think when you think about like, again, this idea of the glass half full versus the glass half empty, it is all about perspective, right? And at the end of the day, the same amount of water is in
nothing
the
changes.
glass. There's nothing different about the amount of liquid in the glass, right? And it just is a way of it is all about perspective.
It's so good.
It's all about perspective. And too many of us, and again, even if you don't feel like going to therapy, that simple act of saying, you know, in this moment, I'm choosing to look at this situation, this circumstance as a positive. The lesson I learned from this was, as opposed to not even woe is me, you know, not even woe is me, but like, instead of saying all of these things happen to me, everything is going wrong, blah, 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 blah. Like, it's so easy to do that. Instead of saying, okay, what value can I find in this situation? You know, and I don't think we don't talk about that enough in our idea of happiness. And I think that even you talked about this year, I wanted to be happy, I wanted to have joy, I want to have content. Those are three different things.
It is. And that takes us right into our relationship gems. Lara needs to break down, or she's going to break down the difference between happiness, joy, and contentment for us. Because I think a lot of times people say, I just want to be happy, but they don't realize there's also levels to this. There's levels.
There's absolutely levels. And so I think when we talk about happiness, happiness is fleeting. Number one, happiness is it is a state that you're in, and it can be due to something you've received, something that you've seen, something you've witnessed. Memi, your hair looks nice today.
Thank you. That makes me so happy.
That makes me so happy. You never say that. That brings me joy. I mean, sometimes you're like, oh my gosh, that compliment just brings me joy. But oftentimes you say, oh, that made me feel happy. Because that was it's fleeting, right? The compliment was given.
It's like a cause and effect.
It's a cause and effect, right? And like there's this rush of emotion that is tied to maybe a situation.
Yeah.
I give you a Dior bag, Mems.
Yeah. I'll take that.
First of all, you're going to take it. I know you're going to take it. Number one, you're going to take it.
Can't wait. Get us a deal so you can buy me some bags.
Hello. And I'm going to get you one.
Period.
Yeah, I'm going to get you one.
Can't wait.
But that'll make you happy, right?
Yeah.
But joy supersedes all of that. Like joy you have in the midst of sorrow.
Oh, that's good.
Joy you have when things are not good. Joy is when there ain't no money in the bank account. But however,
it's like a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle, right? It's a lifestyle, and you have to choose joy.
Yeah.
You have to choose joy. Happiness, like we talked about, it can come and go, and that's why we talk about, like, you know, I think we've talked about this, or I'm sure you guys have said this before. Like when you hear like money can't buy me happiness. That's why, because it can give you things that will make you feel a certain way for a short amount of time. But that's why we still see such high rates of like suicide with people who have loads of money.
Yes. On what looks to be everything.
What looks to be everything, right? And like we talked about this and we joked and said, oh, give us the money or whatever. We're going to take the money.
Definitely.
We're going to take the money. But it's not, that still doesn't give us joy, right?
Facts.
It doesn't give us joy. It doesn't give us that inner peace that you get despite the circumstances, right? You know, and for me, I feel like my joy comes from Christ, right? Despite not being where I necessarily want to be right now, like in my life, like there's certain things I just wish were I was in a different place in certain aspects of my life, but I still have joy because, and again, that goes to that reframing that because I know Christ has bigger for me. It's like I don't have to necessarily be happy with what I'm going through, but I have joy because I know on the other side of this is like,
you know, there's something there.
There's something else on the other side of this.
Yeah, something big.
Yeah. So for me, I think that, and again, that's where I'm able to pull my source of joy from, right? And I feel like other people their joy might come from other things. Yeah. But at least for me, I know that like my joy is directly tied to my relationship with Christ. Like that is just the case.
Yeah.
How about you?
I definitely agree with that. Like I feel like again, like I'm still on my like happiness, joy journey, but I definitely feel like like you said, like it comes from a source, and I feel like for me, I'm trying to like connect that source. I would say connect that source of joy because right now I feel like I'm like internalizing and trying to make sure that in no matter what that I know that everything will be okay. So I believe it still goes back to the same thing.
Right.
Like at the end of the day, I know God is going to take care of me. I know God has my back. And like even when things like even when I talked about it on one of our other episodes, a grief episode, like even when I pushed God away and like over and over mad at God, like he still never left my side. Right? Like he still never left me alone. So that faith and that belief that everything will be okay is what gets you through. Is what brings the joy. Like my kids also give me joy. My husband gives me joy. My family also bring me joy. Knowing that I have them, it's like that sense of security, right? Like no matter what, I know my family has my back. I know that my kids, I can look at them on a bad day and they can make me laugh or they can make me, feel.
Them kids gonna make us laugh every single time.
Look, because them kids comedians, okay?
Them kids gonna make us laugh every single time.
Every time.
And even me, like I think that this past month, I purposely was intentional about making sure I recognized the joy that I had. And I think it's maybe even because we were brainstorming the episode, like some months ago, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to do 21 days of gratitude, right? Just on my own. And I'm going to make sure that I am intentional about 5 things, and they had to be different things every single day. And like, I can recognize that not every day I was happy though, right? Like, not every day I was happy. You know, I didn't get the news I wanted to hear. You know, Levi or Zion did something that just made me mad. Whatever the kids did. You know, said something that, whatever. You know, I know that there were times I was not necessarily happy, but every single day I was able to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it was different every single day, and it made me like just aware of how really blessed I am. You know what I mean? And like, I think about I remember one day I said something along the lines of like, Zion, I was able to communicate with Zion's principal. And that was one of the things I was grateful for. And my thing was like, if he was not receptive to what I was asking him, my request, because I hounded him, and I kept on sending emails, and then I like bum rushed him on back to school night.
Like, hey,
did you get my email?
Yeah,
that I sent right before this meeting?
I sent you about
right. And I just wrote down that like, thank God that he also has a level head, because I'm not the only parent. You know, and there are bigger fish to fry. And I think I was talking to you about like, I was getting upset because, okay, in full transparency, I wanted Zion moved into another class, right? And I didn't think it was going to happen. And then I got upset about it. Literally, I was upset.
Like the nerve.
Like the nerve that my daughter wasn't moved into this other class. And then I was like, am I really getting upset that my child has not been moved when there are children dying in other countries?
I'm not laughing at that,
I know you're not.
Yeah.
My friend's daughter is in and out of the hospital. She would give anything for her child just to be in school. And I'm complaining about my child being in a different class.
And it doesn't take away from like doing that, like that gratitude, right? And like the kind of like self-awareness, right? Self-awareness is insanely important.
It is.
Because it not only does it keep you in check, it also like it does that. It allows you to take yourself out of a situation and look at it from a bird's eye perspective. And not to say like your request is futile or dumb. It's important to you, right? Because I'm a firm believer in my problems are my problems, and they're big to me. I know the world is burning, and I know everything sucks, but my problems are big to me.
Absolutely.
But I think when you see you're not getting that result, it's one of those things that helps you. Like, okay, I'm not seeing my results fast enough, but instead of me freaking out, I can calm down because in the larger scheme of things, I can calm down. I can take a step back. It's still important. I still want this thing, but I can calm down. I don't gotta go up to the school, popping off.
Anyway. But it's the truth though. Honestly, like and I literally had to like take a step. I had to leave. I had to take a walk, and I was just like, Lord, like. It's not that deep. And in that moment, I was able to let it go. Monday morning.
It was still done.
He didn't even respond to my email. They just moved on into another class.
Very simple.
Like, and I just was like.
And it's a perfect example of everything works out.
Everything works out. And even if she would have stayed in another class, you would have
been okay.
Do you know what I mean? So it's just like that for me. Growth. It really was. And I
maturity, I would say.
It's maturity. And I think it just also is like, it really just goes back to like, again, I think the difference between joy, like my child is in school. She is loved and she's cared for. Like that is what brings me joy. The happy part was like, oh, she's in a class with her friend. You know what I mean? Like low key, that's what this boils down to. Her being in her class with her friends. That was it. Bottom line. And I really did like the teacher, though. I really connected with the teacher.
You talking about the teacher. I didn't even talk about the friend. You talking about the teacher.
The teacher, I did just connect with her, and I really just liked her. But it also, the other layer was like, oh, her 2 girlfriends are in the class. 2 girlfriends, and that's crazy. At 3. At 3. Not too much on Zion. But like, it's not. You're the problem. It's me. However, I just
I'm glad it worked out, though.
Yeah, it worked out, and like. Life moved on. You know what I mean?
Moved on.
So
the world will keep turning.
We're gonna stop turning, baby.
The world will keep turning.
It's gonna keep turning.
Until the very last day when Jesus comes back.
Hello.
The world is gonna keep on turning.
And you know, I think that for me that was I was able to like use just even that gratitude to take me again back to joy.
Yeah.
You know.
I love that.
And so like lastly, I think there's contentment, right? And so contentment I think is another state where I think we're called to have joy, right? So in despite of challenges, have joy. Choose joy, right? But then contentment is being satisfied.
Yeah. To me, that's the ultimate level.
Yeah, that's satisfied.
Like ultimate level for me.
This one, I feel like in certain instances, Memi, I feel like you display contentment.
Yeah.
I do feel like you display contentment. And I feel like, you know, it's this idea that I can accept my situation, my circumstances, my choices, and I'm not always needing the next.
Yeah.
Which is big, I think, just in our culture.
It is.
It is always the next.
It is.
And that level of contentment, I don't think across the board,
people not there. People not doing that.
We are not a content people.
People
And when we talk about people, we're talking about like
Africans,
Nigerians. Like, that's what we're talking about. We are always looking for the next.
Yeah.
And I think that, again, that also goes back to like the hustler spirit that we have.
Yes.
That we're always grinding, which I think is a good thing.
Yes. Can be.
It can be a great thing. But I think it also doesn't allow us to be content.
Yeah. Agreed.
Like you're doing well.
Yeah.
You have everything you want.
Everything you need is
but
there.
Then you gotta go get 6 more jobs. Why do you need 6?
6 is crazy.
Why do you need 6?
6 is wild. But yeah, no, it's real. It's a real, and it's like, it's that they talk about the hamster wheel, right? Like, and that's kind of what the new Happy Code, the whole concept was about. Yeah. It was the rat race, and people call it the rat race.
Yeah, the rat race.
The hamster wheel. Yeah. Just like, okay, I want this thing. Okay, I'm gonna get this thing. I want the next thing. Yep. And then you grind. You get there. You're like, that's cool, but next. Yeah. And then you get there. It's like, okay, like I used to work at Deloitte back in the day. At Deloitte, they have all these different levels. You start off as a consultant, senior consultant, manager, senior manager, partner, right? If you stay at Deloitte long enough, your goal is to be partner. Like if you're there probably like 4 or 5 years, your goal is to get senior manager, which probably takes the long. I think the jump between manager and senior manager takes the longest, and then next would be the jump from senior manager to like partner, principal, whatever. So it's like, okay, I started here as a consultant fresh out of college. I've been here 15 years. I finally made senior manager. My next goal is to be a partner. You get to be a partner, and you're like, I'm good. I'm here. Baby, now you have metrics. Now you have goals you have to hit. And the goals don't stay the same. Yeah. So if it's this year, I got to do $2 million of business. Next year, it's $5 million of business. Next year, it's $15, $20, $25 million of business. You just because you're a partner and you're like the top of the food chain don't mean nothing. Right. And it's the same with like these publicly traded companies, right? Like you went public, your IPO did well, your stocks are doing great, but now you have shareholders and board of directors that have to also be satisfied. Yeah. So you're constantly looking at how to increase your margins, how to increase sales, how to get more customers. That's why when you go to Chipotle, your servings are getting less and it's getting more expensive. It's like
optics all behind all this stuff.
Yeah, it's capitalism. That's the end of the day. Yeah. That is the problem. Yeah. Everybody wants to be the top dog. Yeah. Everybody wants the most money. Yeah. Everybody wants to be the CEO. Like everybody wants to continue to move forward because everything is more inflation. Like everything costs more money, so you have to constantly be making more money so you can keep up. Yeah. So it's part of the society that we're in and the capitalistic society that we're in. But contentment, it can help you with that. Yeah. It's like, okay, I want to get here. Yeah. And some people will say, oh, like, you're just not ambitious or you're lazy. But again, perspective. Yeah, because if you get me to the point where I'm making $500,000, $1 million a year, baby, I'm content.
Content me.
I don't need 2 million, 5 million, 10 million. Give me $1 million a year and I'm content.
What?
Why are you kidding? I'm content.
I'm very content.
Crossing my legs. Relaxing,
very content.
please. So everybody has their different levels and their different goals. I mean, because it's not easy to get to $500,000 a year. It's not easy to get to $1 million a year. Yeah. But it's like once I get there, I just gotta stay there.
Just stay there. Yeah,
I can do that.
I can do that.
But constantly looking for the next, it's like, when does it get to be? When does it get to be too much? Because it's stressful.
Yeah. So I feel like that takes us into our first question. So what do you feel like is the biggest mistake that people make on the path to happiness?
I think number one, that the understanding of what happiness is and joy and everything. And I think that would be, what we're saying is what I would say. Like, the path to happiness, thinking that it's a destination. Like, once I get this, I'm going to be happy. Yeah. Because that's just never the case. Human beings are just not wired that way. We always want more. We always want the next thing. We're never satisfied. Never. That's what my mom has always told me that since I was little. Yeah. Like, human beings, they're never satisfied. Like, we're never satisfied. Like, even when like, I'm tall, right? Yeah. Like, I used to hate being tall when I was younger. But now people are like, oh, I wish I was tall like you. And I'm just like, I used to wish I was short, right? Yeah. But then it's like, if you were short, you would wish you were tall. Or if you're thick, you would wish you were slim. If you were slim, you wish you were thick. Like, so it's just that we always kind of look at what else is going on around us and are like, I wish I had that. But then you go get it and you're just like, it's not really all it comes to be.
It's crazy.
So I would say that's the biggest mistake people make, is thinking that happiness is like a destination and not just like a fleeting feeling. Like, it's something that happens. Like, okay, I got here on time, that made me happy. Or I had a acai bowl for breakfast, that made me happy. Yeah. And it's like, next.
Yeah. And understanding that, yes, happiness comes in waves. Like, comes and goes. Yeah. It's fleeting. It's not something that's going to stay and that's permanent, right? So I think, again, our idea of choosing happiness versus choosing joy versus understanding contentment is important. Number one. Yeah, it's important. For sure. And being able to recognize that, like, you can really have all three.
Mm-hmm. You really, I could see that. Yeah. Definitely. What would you say is the biggest mistake?
I would say is thinking that even that your marriage is going to be the thing that gives you constant happiness. Oh. Like, it is.
This is a marriage podcast, huh? I forgot, because that you just took me.
Yeah, like thinking that my man about to make me happy all the time. Good luck.
That is a mistake.
Good luck. And like, it is, and I think we see the beautiful weddings. We see the in love posts, the lovey-dovey posts. They done had to record that 6 times to get that posted nice for you. I just want you to know that.
Just because he was stepping on her toes and she was cussing him out.
Like let's be serious. Let's be serious. Understanding that marriage can give you joy. Yeah. But marriage, you are not going to be happy all the time.
Absolutely not.
You are not going to be happy all the time.
Absolutely not. And go ahead.
You go ahead.
And also, like, well, as we're talking about, like, it's actually, like, there are dangers connected to looking to your partner as the source of your happiness.
Come on.
Like, that's actually it's like you're taking something that should be housed within you and something that should be internal and come from your own sense of self. Yes. And you're saying, here you go. You can have this.
Make me happy.
Here you go. Here's the script now.
Now give it back to me.
Now go do it. Go play. Go make me happy. So it's like you're taking all the responsibility of your own happiness and giving it to somebody else. Somebody that you cannot control. You have no control over what this person does.
You literally cannot. You cannot.
So that is
depend on this person to even just.
Like, you mad he not taking out the trash, but you gave him.
You want to not
the keys to your happiness.
Your happiness. Make it make sense. Make it make sense.
Brother, do better.
Do better. Because
it's a setup. It's setting yourself up to fail.
It's unrealistic and unfair expectations.
And I don't even think people know that they do it.
No, they
don't.
And
I think that is why we really want y'all to be like locked in, because some of the things that we are talking about, I don't think people even know.
They don't realize it.
You don't realize that you've done this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it is your partner's job to be a part of your joy and to strive to make you happy. Absolutely. 100%. Like, I strive to make my man happy. I need him to strive to make me happy as well. But I also understand that he has bad days. Yeah. He has bad weeks. Yeah. He has bad months. Yeah. Where my happiness is not at the top of his mind.
It is not even top 10. He is like on the list of things I gotta do.
Sister.
Lara's happiness
Figure it out.
Not 1 through 5. It's not 1 through 5. Mm-mm.
Today, it's not.
It is the kids. It is job. These deliverables.
It is. Keep going.
This paying these bills.
It is. What?
And then Lara maybe gets the rest.
Lara, do you want to go to dinner? Like, girl.
I'll order something to eat.
Like, you. Is there anything I can do for you? Like, girl, so it's like finding ways, and it's not to say, again, like, we're not saying that they don't have any responsibilities. They do.
We're not saying that.
But it's just saying that when you are married, and again, we talk about this concept of marriage being forever, right? Because we never want to get divorced. Of course. Marriage is being forever. So you're talking about going through 30, 40 years of life with someone, and your happiness is completely hinged on what they're doing for you. Realistic. Completely dangerous and realistic. Unrealistic. So stop doing that to yourself. Take it back.
Take it back, baby. Take it back.
Take back your center of happiness. Absolutely. Or your joy. Absolutely. Or, own it for yourself.
And it gets dangerous, honestly. Like, it can get dangerous. Like, it leads, there are people who are codependent on their spouse.
Yes.
Like, their end all be all. Wait, what that mean?
Sorry.
What that mean? You are not codependent.
I wouldn't say I'm codependent. I have some tendencies, though.
Same help. You told me putting them to sun.
Blink twice, babe.
Blink twice.
Woo. Yeah. I won't say I'm codependent.
Yeah.
Like in the like I'm not like his how he moves doesn't determine what I do.
Yeah. Okay.
But codependent, like clingy.
You're clingy. Okay.
Very clingy.
You already shared with the girl.
Yeah. Y'all know how I am. So a little clingy. I won't say codependent, but I feel like sometimes because we did kind of like grow up together, it's hard to kind of know where like he stops and I start.
Enmeshment.
Yeah, it gives a little enmeshment.
Need to break that, please.
He ready to break it.
Oh,
can you go
that way? He's sweating.
He's like, go over there. I'm like, no,
I don't want you. I want to stay up under you. Oh, not too much. Oh my God.
Yeah, but it's like trips is really.
Oh, so trips.
Yeah, like vacations.
Let my man go on his boy trip.
Yeah, no, he didn't.
No boys trips.
Don't invite him, please.
Just because you don't want to go on a girl's trip doesn't mean he shouldn't go on a boys trip. We're not about to digress, but I'm just saying, not too much on him.
I remember. I'll tell you later.
Tell me later, please.
Oh, God.
Tell me later.
Okay.
But codependence, obviously, that is unfortunate. It's dangerous. It's very dangerous when your end all be all is tied to someone else. Your mental health, like all of these things are things like Memi has shared that needs to be things that are internal. That are, that can be supported by your relationships, by the people in your life and things like that, but should not be center stage.
Yes.
They are supporting actors and actresses, not the main. They ain't the one getting the Oscar.
Yes, they not.
Come on.
Yeah, that should be you.
That should be you.
Yeah, that should be you.
All right, so how do we break and cultivate more joy?
Yeah.
Ultimately, I think if anything I'm taking away from this episode is that we need to move from a state of happiness to a state of joy.
Yes. Definitely. And some things we've already kind of covered. Yeah. Like this is where you get out your pen and paper. It's time for the gems. But number one, like you touched on it, is the gratitude.
Absolutely. And
how important that is. And I also like gratitude and joy hacking, reframing, that has been sort of like hand in hand for me this year. And like even to the point where I had like one of my friends, I was like, send me your the 3 things you're joyful about today, and just back and forth, like, and it really does help get you out of those ruts, like those kind of sad moments, because you're just like, oh, I'm happy that I didn't order DoorDash today. I'm happy.
Can't say that today, but
can't say, Lara. Please.
Can't say that today.
Can't say that today. But I'm happy I didn't order DoorDash today. Or I'm happy I got my assignment done 2 days before it was due, before the morning of, you know? So just like looking at those little things, it not only does it kind of hold you accountable because you're seeing like, okay, I wanted to do something and I did it, check. Or good things are happening all around me. I just have to pay attention, you know, versus paying attention to the negative things.
I like that. The pay attention part is so key, right? Because it's easy to, if you're always, think about it, if you're always going to the next, you absolutely miss what is going on. Like that statement, stop and smell the roses, is a key. Like it literally makes sense. Like when you are saying I'm trying to get from here to here, you never take stock of what's going on around you. You just don't. You do not, and you miss everything. You miss the little things. You miss the big things because you're just so focused on the destination at hand. And I think that if we're trying to cultivate joy, you are taking in all of these things that are around you. You're taking stock of your friendships and the people who pour into you. Just even the ability, the community that you're able to foster. That somebody says, share with me the things that are bringing you joy in your life. Like those little things that you're able to take stock of go such a long way. So that's really good. I really like that one.
So gratitude in any way you have to capture it, whether it's sharing it with your friends, praying and like thanking God. Like the first thing I do when I pray is I thank God. I thank God for everything. I thank God for the sky, the moon, the ground, the bed I'm sleeping in, the roof over my head, the breath in my lungs, the ability to move my 10 fingers, wiggle my toes. Thank God for everything. And that is such a good like recentering exercise. And journaling also helps. Diary. You could do it with your kids, like that. I also like doing that with my kids. Like, guys, tell me 2 things you're thankful for, or 1 thing you're thankful for, just at random, like you know, during the day when you pick up from up for school in the morning, just to get them in the habit of being grateful. So I would gratitude number 1. We talked about reframing. That's the second thing that I think is very helpful on creating and cultivating joy from within yourself. Just that half glass, half full concept. And we talked about it a lot, so we don't have to keep going into it. But that's so important. So important.
I would also say do things that you enjoy.
For sure.
And you might not be able to do them all the time, right? Which I think makes you cherish them even more when you're not able to do them all the time. When you're able to, you enjoy cooking, you know, and because life has been so busy, you don't get to do it as often. You enjoy hiking, whatever the case may be, but doing things that you enjoy.
That make you happy.
Again. But I think that constant pouring into yourself is what gives you that joy, right? That inner work, that inner, like I'm finding fulfillment in the things that I can do for myself.
I love that. And it also helps you, I feel like it also helps you learn yourself better. When you're like, dang, I really like this.
Like, why don't I do this more?
I should do this more often. Then you now make time for it. And I've been seeing this thing going around of like, you don't have to monetize all your hobbies. Because I feel like that adds pressure. Like, we love doing this. But clearly we're trying to monetize it. But so we love doing this. But it's like not everything that you're super good at and you enjoy has to be, you don't have to, you don't like, you love making bracelets. I gotta put them on Etsy. You could just make bracelets. For like the people at your church or people at your kids teachers. Like, you know, find a way to still have fun with it. But once you, because when you monetize, you now put pressure on yourself. You put pressure on yourself. It becomes a whole thing. And then you kind of kill the joy. And that also goes back to the rat race. Like, you feeling like everything has to be a source of income. It's like, you can just enjoy cooking without having to sell plates. Like, you can just have fun with it. Because that is, like, you, like, being able to do those things, it connects you to your inner self. It's just what I think.
I would also say, give yourself grace. I think that, so you know, in marriage, individually, you know, because we're always searching for the next, or because we're always trying to get to the next level, because we want to now, we've gotten this accomplishment, we're on to the next accomplishment, you constantly put that pressure on yourself. But are we in atmospheres where you're giving yourself grace? Are you talking to yourself kindly? Are you compassionate? Self-compassion, like the same, what I tell my patients is, you're telling me all these negative things. If somebody came to you with this similar problem, what would you tell
That's
them?
so good. I never even heard that. But that's
What would
so
you tell
good.
them?
Yeah.
Tell me. Let's role play. What would you tell them? Would you tell them all the stuff that you telling me right now?
Like you,
No.
like you're so dumb. You're
so
such a
dumb.
failure.
Oh my
This
God.
and this and this. You would never say that to
You would
somebody
never
else.
say that. So
But that's how you talk to yourself.
That is how you talk to yourself.
Yeah.
Could you practice self-compassion?
Yeah.
Give yourself grace. I think that is also important because people not knowing, like, first of all, depression and happiness are not synonymous, right? But like the negative self-talk, the beating yourself up, the constant comparison,
Self-deprecation.
that is, you're on your way to Depressionville.
Yep.
Come on, let's go faster.
I'm gonna go cry.
Like, it is, you're on your way.
Yeah.
So if you're able to give yourself grace, it's like, let me slow down and again take stock of what is going on around me.
Like, I'm not doing too bad.
I'm not doing too bad.
Like, this is okay. Like, yeah, I'm 30 and I don't have this and I have that, but I do have this. I do have that.
Yeah,
I do have
I
this.
do well in this regard. I have relationships. I have healthy friendships. There's so many things, again, going back to gratitude. They're all intertwined.
It's literally
all the stuff is intertwined.
Just connected.
Literally. They're all intertwined. But it's that idea that, we are deserving of the grace we would extend to somebody else.
I love that. Like, that's, I actually never heard that before, and that's really good.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's so important.
Yeah.
So,
any closing thoughts for you, Mems, on happiness, joy, and contentment?
Yeah, no. I think this was really good. This is good for me. A little healing,
A little healing.
So that was good.
I would say, just in the terms of marriage, I would say that we would encourage our listeners to find joy individually, practice contentment in your marriage. So there may be things that you are not happy with your partner about, but like we said, happiness is fleeting.
Yep.
So he's made you upset about this thing. She didn't do this thing. But what are you satisfied with in your marriage? What are the things that your partner does that make you happy that you're in this situation, that you made the right choice, that you made the decision to be where you are, that allow you to feel content and satisfied in your marriage. Those are the things that we want you to harp on and understand that happiness comes and goes. Yeah. And that, again, marriage is a climb. So as you're climbing, understanding that it's going to be hard sometimes.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
So I want to thank you guys for another episode of Chats from the Peak. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you know when our next episode is dropping. And we want to thank you guys.
Bye.